Oh Gaura, Gaura, Gaura Hari. Oh Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari. Oh Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari. Oh Gaura, Gaura, Gaura Hari. Oh Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari. Oh Gaura Hari, Jai Gaura Hari. Oh Gaura Hari, Jai Gaura Hari. Oh Shri Advaita Chandra. Oh Shri Advaita Chandra. Oh Jai Nityananda. Oh Jai Nityananda. Bolo Jai Gaura Chandra. Oh Jai Gaura Chandra. Oh Jai Gaura Chandra. Bolo Jai Nityananda. Oh Jai Advaita Chandra. Oh Jai Advaita Chandra. Oh Bolo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Oh Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Oh Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. 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 Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Oh, we just did another Advaita one just now. Do you want? You mean you want to do the page 56? Oh, 56. But it's not a Kadasi today. It's not a real Kadasi. It's not like this. It's Septimi. Yeah. We could like recite part of the. I don't know if that is a good idea, but maybe we could. Or I guess we would. That would have had to been more prepared. Not that.
sing, Sita? This song? I don't know this song. Okay. Yeah. Jaya Jaya Advaita Acharya. Jaya Jaya Advaita Acharya Dayamay Janra Hun Hun Kare Gora Avatara Jaya Jaya Advaita Acharya Chandra hunkare gora avatara premadata sita natha karuna sagar Chandra prema raise aila Brajera Nagar Premadata Jahare karuna kare kripa dite chai Jahara premara se jana chaitanya gunagai tanhara padete jeba loilo shara se jana paila gaura prema mahadan emona dayara nidhi kene na bhajilu Lochan bale nija maithe bhajara padilu Jaya Jaya Advaita Acharya Dayamay Jaya Advaita Acharya Dayamay Jaya Jaya Advaita Acharya Dayamay Jaya Dayamay Chandra hun kare gora avatara Jaya Advaita Acharya Advaita Acharya Advaita Acharya Advaita Acharya Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura All glories to the greatly merciful Advaita Acharya. It was due to his loud roar that Sri Gauda descended. He is the giver of Prem, the Lord of Sita Devi, and an ocean of compassion. Due to his nectarian love, the hero of Braj came again. To whomever he wants to mercifully bestow his grace, that person sings the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu submerged in Prem Ras. He who takes shelter of his lotus feet attains the supreme wealth of Gauda Prem. Lochan Das says, "Why have I not worshipped such a treasure house of mercy? Instead, I have struck my own head with a thunderbolt." Haribol.
Mahamantra.
Sorry.
Could you message Basanti? She's supposed to come and speak something about Advaita.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram,
Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari
Go
Bo.
Premanandi. Jai Shri Guru Garanga Gandharvika. No. Agyanam Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tvadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namah. Yang Pravajantam Manupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Virahaka Taruva Juhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Benedus Tang Sarvavu Hridayam Munimanatosmi Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Chiptascha Kamadi Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapadyam Brinde Namaste Charanaravinda Tavoivasmi Tavoivasmi Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tam Nayamam Charananti Kripayati Yadi Radha Padita Sheshabada Kema Paravasistam Pusti Maryade Yorme Yadi Vadati Chakinshit Smera Soditasri Dvija Varamani Panktya Mukti Shaktya Tadakyam Shama Sundara Sekanda Sekha Smera Samurali Manoha Radhika Rasika Mam Pripandite Swapriya Charanakin Kari Karo Prananatha Vishabhanu Nandini Srimakabja Rasalola Satpada Radhika Paratale Kritastite Tam Bhajami Rasikendra Sekha Sambadaya Dashlane Tridambivo Prartaye Brajamahendra Nandan Astu Mohan Tabati Balaba Janma Janmani Madhiswari Priya. First, I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, a stotra to Sat Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, to our Shiksha Gurus, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and Shri Srimad Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, to our grandfather Gurus, Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, and Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and to his divine associates, and to all the assembled devotees and their Diksha Gurus, who are my Shiksha Gurus. Can somebody make this less static? Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Madhav Maharaj, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Pan Maharaj, and Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Siddhanti Maharaj. So today is the second program glorifying Sri Advaita Acharya. Eden, I think you came for Bhagavad Gita class.
Yeah, the last kirtan. This is my first one, actually. It's my first class.
Right, so because today's a holiday, no matter what subject is the subject of the day, we spend some time speaking about that holiday and then go on to the subject. So today is the, who else? Colin is here for the Gita? I thought you were just staying here. So we're going to do the Gita class. We're going to do the Gita class. But first we want to glorify Advaitacharya, whose birthday is today. And then, are you prepared for Raghunath Das Goswami? Otherwise we can do that tomorrow morning. Yeah, tomorrow morning. Did anybody else have an assignment for the Basant Panchami? Pundarik, is that you? It will be too, tomorrow morning. I think he's teaching the Gita class, correct? Are you prepared? Say that again. Can you also speak something? Because if 3 people travel to get here, then you also want to look up at them sometimes. All right, so first I'm going to call on Basanti. What? No, I don't know what happened. It's the last couple of days. Very good. Very good. And also that everybody has a Gita. We have so many pocket Gitas. So first I'm going to call on Vasanti. And she's going to tell just a little story, which is very powerful, about Advaitacharya. And then I'm going to read something from Srila Gurudev's Treasure of Holy Days. And then we will proceed with Bhagavad Gita. Okay, Vasanti, can you take that mic? And can we turn the TV on to Vasanti? Is that Haridas back there? I see. Okay. Maybe it's the mic. Let's see how you sound. Yeah, she sounds fine.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Shri Gurudev Ki Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Maharaj Ki Jai Bhanu Varga Ki Jai Shri Advaita Charya Ki Jai. So, as she said, it's kind of echoing. As she said, we started our advertisement for Bhagavad Gita without looking at our Vaishnav calendar. And today is a huge holiday. And we sing, you probably heard because you've come to Kirtan night, this Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda. That's the Panchatattva, Lord Chaitanya and his primary associates. So today is Advaita, the Divine Appearance Day of Shri Advaita Acharya. And by his mercy, is one reason why Lord Chaitanya came, because it was the world was becoming so degraded, and he was calling, Advaita Acharya was calling and calling, worshipping Sheila. You can see our little Sheila there, he's smiling at us, and worshipping Sheila with Tulsi and calling out to him. And so then when Lord Chaitanya came. So just going to tell one small pastime. I need to, yeah. Short. So actually, his father was doing austerities to have, he was doing austerities and praying to Lord Shiva. And then Lord Shiva came and he asked him, what would you like? And he said, I want a son like you, I want a son like you, I want a son like you. So he became he's a manifestation, Advaitacharya, of Lord Shiva. Shiva said to him, this is impossible, so I will personally come as your son. So Advaitacharya's name at birth was Kamalaksha, which means one who has very beautiful lotus eyes. And he completed. He was so scholarly, all grammar, all Vedas, all scriptures. So his father was a servant to the king, and they went to go see the king, and Advaita Acharya was just a little boy, like 5 or 6 years old, and at this palace was a deity of Kali, and she's a demigoddess who's like that. She's the goddess of like the material energy.
Giving benediction people to fulfill people's material desires and become more entangled in the material world.
So whenever you enter a temple, especially you offer obeisances, bow down. So the king, the father came in and he offered his obeisances to this deity of Kali, but Advaita Acharya didn't. And the father was so upset and so worried. He said, I work for the king, you must bow down. And he said that the king's angry. I mean, I'm a servant. So why are you not offering your obeisances to Kali? Kali is a very exalted demigoddess, and she can give any boon. Everyone respects her, so you should also offer her your obeisances. And Advaita Acharya, he's a boy, his name was Kamalaksha, he said, if I do, then the deity will be destroyed. And so his father saying, oh, this boy, And so then he did. He offered his obeisances, and then right when he bowed down, there was an explosion, boom, and this deity exploded into millions of pieces, and everyone was so freaking out. What's going on? Who is he? Why did this happen? So this happened because Advaita Acharya, would you say manifestation of Lord Shiva? Or
Manifestation of Sadashiva.
Yeah, but he is Sadashiva.
Yeah.
Mahavishnu.
Incarnation. Mahavishnu was coming from Sadashiva.
No mind. Okay, so
He is non-different.
he's non-different to Advaita. Okay, so Kali is Lord Shiva's wife, so he can't bow down to his wife. So therefore, Gurudev says, she feels herself subordinate to her husband and cannot tolerate his bowing down to her. That is why the deity exploded.
Did he share that? Or did he not tell anybody?
Oh, it doesn't say. Gurudev just said why. Yeah. So that's it. Evil. You're not going to use your.
Okay. So I'm reading from Srila Gurudev's compilation, or his disciple Prem Vilas Prabhu's compilation of Gurudev's lectures on various holy days. Translation into English of his Hindi lectures. So as she said, at birth, Sri Advaita was given the name Kamala Aksha, Kamalaksha. Aksha means eyes, and Kamala means lotus flower. So his eyes were shaped like lotus petals. And he appeared in East Bengal at Srihatta, staying sometimes in Navadvip and sometimes in Shantipur. He began preaching bhakti. He was there in Navadvip when Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, took birth. Visvarup, that is Lord Chaitanya or Mahaprabhu's older brother, attended Advaita Acharya's school. So one day, their mother, Mother Sachi, told Nimai, like you're hearing these different names, but it's the same person. Nimai is the name of Lord Chaitanya because he took birth under the neem tree. And his name was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu means the greatest master. He's also called Gauranga because Gora, golden, Anga, limbs, because he has limbs just like gold. It's just that it has a, like static, too deep. So one day, Mother Sachi told Nimai to go and call his brother. So when he arrived at the school, Nimai glanced in the direction of Advaita Acharya, because as you heard earlier today, Advaita Acharya, Krishna was here 5,000 years ago, and then he left for his abode after 125 years, and then he was thinking, well, I'm not fully satisfied by my appearance on this earth, because although I gave devotion to me, it was in the mood of awe and reverence. So I want to give the world such ecstatic devotion that even I am controlled by that. I'm controlled by that devotee, and I am astonished by the nature of their love and devotion. But he's thinking about, I don't know when exactly to come. I could come after 100,000 years. I could come after right away. I could come after 1,000,000 years. So he couldn't figure it out when to come. So Advaita Acharya, who's non-different from the Lord, but he's an incarnation of the Lord in philosophical truth called tattva, non-different from the Lord. As one candle lights many other candles, although they're expansions, they're not the original, they have the same candle power. But what Advaita felt he couldn't do was give that greatest love of God. So he wanted to call for Krishna to come, and so he worshipped, as you see, do you see this kind of very light, whitish yellow, small deity next to Radharani, and also next to the Shalagram Shila? That's Advaita Acharya. And so he's just there visiting for the day. And so he worshipped the Shalagram Shila. Shalagram Shila is a stone found in certain places of India that are actually incarnations of Krishna. So he worshipped the Shila, and with Tulsi. By the way, if any of the guests would like to take a Tulsi home and can properly worship her, sing to her, circumambulate her, water her properly, she gives love of God to anyone who has her in their home and tries to properly take care of her. So, so he worshipped with Tulsi leaves and the Tulsi buds and some water from the Ganges, and saying, if you don't come and give this love of God, then the earth is so decrepit, interestingly enough, like it is now, isn't it, in a horrible shape, then I'm going to destroy the world. Because as the incarnation, it's one of his duties is to maintain and also to create dissolution at different times. So, let's see. So Advaita Acharya called for Mahaprabhu, and now here he is as young Nimai, and he's going to pick up his brother Visvarup from school. But Advaita Acharya didn't recognize him. He actually didn't know what to expect when he invited the Lord to come. So Nimai glanced in the direction of Advaita Acharya and said, "What do you see? You called me here, and you don't recognize me? When the proper time comes, you will certainly recognize me." So then Gurudev goes on to say There are unlimited incarnations of Vishnu, Krishna, and they are all non-different from him, but their activities and pastimes are different. Therefore, because Advaita Acharya is non-different from Krishna, he is Advaita, and because he manifested bhakti in all directions, he's known as Acharya, or one who teaches by his words and his example. So, what was one way that he preached bhakti or pure devotion? If anyone was born in a low-class family, a Muslim family or any family, but he performed bhajan to the Lord, Advaita Prabhu considered him better than a high-class brahmana, the priestly or scholarly class, who did not engage in devotion or bhajan to Krishna. So if there is someone who has taken a high birth, he can be an eminent scholar, knowing all the rules and regulations of pure life. He speaks the truth, he never lies, but he doesn't engage in devotion to Krishna, some of which is singing the songs that we were just singing and chanting on beads. Do any of the guests not have beads? No. But Colin does, I know. He's been chanting for years. So if you like, Gadagwaj is who's going to be teaching tonight. He'll take you into the boutique and, if you're interested, to show you how to chant on the beads. When we chant, we engage our tongue, and when we hear ourselves, we engage our ears. The idea is to engage all the senses in the service of the Lord so they become pure and perfect. Right now, none of our senses are pure. Like if you put a gag over your mouth and then you try to eat. Can you eat? No. If you put a blindfold over your eye, can you see? So right now, that's our condition. So by chanting the Maha Mantra, our senses become purified. So we have the tongue and the ear. So when we chant japa with our beads, it engages another sense, which is the sense of touch. So our mind can become more locked in. And also we have counter beads, so we can know how much we're chanting. And so we, like if you're not aware of how much you're eating, and then you just have a busy day and you just have an apple, that's great, but you're not going to get the same nourishment as if you chant a meal, if you take a meal. So similarly, when we have a fixed number and then we have our counter beads to count, then we know that we're keeping our nourishment, and then gradually we want to increase. Okay, so you can see Gadagwaj at the end. Right. So that person who's a great scholar, great conduct, always tells the truth, never lies, follows all the rules and regulations of pure life. Pure life means he won't eat with his left hand. He'll do only the dirty things with his left hand, like when he goes to the bathroom, and he'll eat with his right hand. That's cultured life. So he's very cultured, but if he's not a devotee of Krishna and crying out, Krishna, Krishna, then he's inferior to the person who's born in a low family, not so well educated or whatever, but he's a devotee. The devotee is much superior. So here's a very interesting pastime that showed that. So Haridas Thakur, he was born in a Muslim family, a family who practiced nothing of pure conduct. But he was a pure devotee. So Advaita Acharya was doing a Shraddha ceremony. That means when the father or some ancestor is deceased, when a relative is deceased, they do a special ceremony so that that relative will go to a higher place rather than a lower place. Even if he would have gone to a lower place, by performing the ceremony, he goes to a good planet with good association, a better prepared for bhakti. So at the ceremony, he's supposed to give the highest seat and the first plate of prasadam, the food offered to Krishna. So he had to pick the most elevated person. And his whole house was full of these elevated brahmanas. So he was performing the ceremony when the moon was in the appropriate place in the month of Aswina. All the high-class brahmanas were there, the Bhattacharyas, Trivedis, Chaturvedi, the Upadhyaya, all big scholars of the Vedas. After washing their feet, he showed them to their respective seats. In front was an elevated seat, and Advaitacharya was standing and thinking, so who will I give this seat to? Who's here? All of the scholars were thinking, I know so many scriptures. I can quote everything by heart. Certainly I will be offered the seat. Silently, they were all aspiring for it. Never know what's going on in someone's mind. Advaitacharya then went outside the house and saw Haridas Thakur wearing a langoti, just a little piece of cloth around his waist, and sitting at the door. Haridas was thinking, the brahmanas will take their meal here. So Advaitacharya will certainly give us a little bit of their prasad. He had so much humility that he was thinking that if he went inside, the house would be contaminated. The example is given in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, that if a tree has no fruits and flowers, you just see it standing up straight like that. But if the tree has lots of fruits and flowers, the heavy burden of them makes the tree bow down low. He had so much humility that he was thinking that if he went inside, the house would be contaminated. At once, Advaitacharya embraced him, and Haridas said, "Oh, you are a Brahmana and I am a Muslim. Having touched me, you must now go and take a bath." But grabbing him and taking him inside, Advaitacharya sat him on the elevated seat. The Brahmanas said, "By bringing a Muslim in here, you have contaminated the place and insulted us. We will not eat here." Taking their water pots, they all stood up and left. They were abusing Advaitacharya, saying, "You are opposed to the principles of Dharma, or Vedic religion." But Advaitacharya said, "Today, my birth has become successful, and today my father has attained the spiritual world." By giving respect to one Vaishnava, or pure devotee of the Lord, millions of my ancestors have crossed over the illusory energy, what to speak of one. If Haridas will eat here, then that is greater than feeding millions of brahmanas. So Haridas was crying, thinking, because of me, all these brahmanas have been insulted, and now they're not eating. Just see how a devotee, pure devotee thinks. But Advaitacharya said, "Haridas, today you will certainly take prasad here. That will be our great good fortune." Then he said to the brahmanas, "He will stay and none of you will get any prasadam. Actually, you should all leave quickly, because just seeing your faces is a great sin." Haridas has great regard for Mahaprasad, or the pure food that's been offered to Krishna, which you'll all be getting in a little while. And therefore, he is included within the Vaishnava class. Anyone who doesn't accept this is an atheist. And one who judges a Vaishnava according to his birth is an atheist. You can all go away from here, and then your offenses will leave with you. You are offending Haridas, and me as well. So all the scholars left the house, but outside they were all going. As they were all going, they began speaking amongst themselves. Advaitacharya is no ordinary person. He's a great scholar. He knows all the scriptures, and he's an exalted preacher of bhakti. They continued deliberating, and after fully reconsidering, they returned, fell at Advaita Prabhu's feet, and begged forgiveness. Advaitacharya had many sons, of which one was named Achyutananda. But because some of his other sons didn't engage in bhakti, he didn't consider them his sons. What is that verse? No one can become a guru or a teacher or a father or a mother unless he can save his ward from the clutches of death. So he considered only Achyutananda his son because he was an exalted devotee. And he renounced them in his heart. Because, who's that? Bharat? Bharat's mother, Kaikai, had offended Ram in the pastime. Bharat refused to call her mother. He just called her Maharani, a queen. And then she realized her mistake later and begged Lord Ram to order, because Ram is the eldest of the brothers, but it's a younger brother, and Ram is also the king. So she wept to Ram and begged him, please order Bharat to call me mother, just once. And so Ram ordered him, and then he said, I'll do anything for you, but I will not call her mother. That's so. Similarly, Advaitacharya renounced, he had 6 sons, he renounced 5. I think actually there were, Achyutananda was the best, but there was 2 others who were bhaktas. Only those sons who perform bhajan of Bhagavan, Bhagavan means Krishna, one who has 6 opulences. It's a Sanskrit name for God, one who has all wealth, strength, knowledge, renunciation, beauty, and fame. Yes. Everybody has some, but he has all of it. The Ratha Yatra festival was going on in Puri. And Achyutananda was made his successor. At that time, Achyutananda was just a small boy. Some Vaishnavas came and asked Advaitacharya, what is the name of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's guru? And he replied, Keshava Bharati. So at that time, Achyutananda was sitting on his father's lap. And upon hearing this, he began shivering with anger. He was just a small boy, but he got up from his father's lap and started to walk away, saying, you cannot be my father if you have such an idea. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the guru of the entire world, because he's God. Who can possibly be his guru? Tears came into the eyes of Advaitacharya, and he said, you will really be known as my son. What you have said is correct. Mahaprabhu is the guru of the entire world. But for his pastimes in the human form, he must set an example for others. And that's why he accepted Keshava Bharati as his sannyas guru. If he didn't do that, everybody would follow him and nobody would accept a guru. And then what would happen to the world? It would go to hell. How would the people of this world know that it's necessary to accept a guru? We have this book called Guru Deva Tatma. You have that? You just got it from... So we just got a ton of Guru Deva Tatma books, which talks all about the importance of accepting Guru, what is the qualification of a Guru, how Lord Krishna accepted a Guru, Ram accepted a Guru, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted a Guru. And they did that to set the example. In this way, Advaita Acharya did many wonderful things. He was an assistant to all the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, today, we will offer our special prayer to his feet and beg that he may be merciful upon us so that we can make steady progress in bhakti and ultimately attain the direct service of Gaurachandra and have Gaura Prem, or love for Lord Chaitanya. Gaura Premanandi Hari. Shri Advaita Acharya ki jai. Advaita Acharya Abhibhav Titi Maha Mahotsav ki jai. Okay, Gadagoja, are you ready to not only read but speak? Okay. So, you want to bring a chair over? All right, you could do that, make it more interactive. You want to pass them out? Yeah, I think he'll be too embarrassed to be a teacher in front of me. So I'm going to turn the mic and for over to Anna. And you're facing that way.
Yeah.
And now you are
Servant.
like a servant.
It's just an intro, yeah. Nice big study group.
Study group style, yeah.
I like it. It's nice. It's like more casual too. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Yeah, I guess so. Offering my Dandavat pranams to my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, Srimati Syamarani Didi, the whole Rupanuga Guru Varga, and all assembled devotees, my seniors, and everyone's worshipful gurus. So I'm definitely not teaching Bhagavad Gita, but I will just try and speak something of an introduction because we're inaugurating a Bhagavad Gita study every Tuesday night moving forward. And the introductions to Bhagavad Gitas by our acharyas are very profound and very amazing. And, like that Prabhupada, as it is, Bhagavad Gita introduction is so legendary. And I found that our Srila Gurudev's introduction is also just as illuminating and has incredible depth just in the introduction. And the way they go about introducing the Bhagavad Gita is really establishing the value of Bhagavad Gita, the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita, the intent of it, and also the importance of the Bhagavad Gita in disciplic succession. Because Prabhupada established this Bhagavad Gita as it is. We all know this, but just for speeding. Because one must get spiritual knowledge through the transmission of Sri Guru and not one's own ascension or endeavor. And so that stress is very highly, or that point is very highly stressed. And Lord Krishna even expresses that point as well. Within the Bhagavad Gita himself, he says, in order to learn the truth, approach a self-realized master, render service under him in submission. And so our Srila Gurudev mentions something pretty interesting. I'm going to read, Gurudev mentioned something about the word sectarian. And then he reads a few things from his own Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, on the subject of the Gita, and going over some just fundamental, most important points coming from Gita. And then as well, he mentioned some commentary from his Param Gurudev, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada and Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So we'll see where we get. Good? So first thing is this interesting discourse about the idea of sectarianism, because we know Vaishnavas are Saragrahi, they're not sectarian, but at the same time we have adherence to the pure disciplic succession. And so how do we reconcile this idea? And even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Vidya Vinaya Samprani Brahmani Gavi, the self-realized humble sage sees with equal vision. So there's this interesting point, and Gurudev's addressing it here. Modern educated people fill their speeches and writings with the word sectarian so as to boast their liberality. They forget that the glory of Arya Dharma, which is eternal, is sectarianism in its most pure sense. So he's totally changing the word. He's totally shifting our consciousness of even this word sectarianism. It carries like this weird, feeling, at least in my understanding. And when we're preaching and speaking to people, we have to kind of move around this idea. But he says, they forget that the glory of Arya Dharma, which is eternal, is sectarianism in its most pure sense. The current of true conceptions that is received through the Guru Parampara is termed Sampradaya, or a disciplic lineage that completely and properly bestows the supreme truth. This current has been flowing since time immemorial in the theistic society of India. So he very profoundly establishes the purpose and the value of this disciplic lineage, that it completely and properly bestows the supreme truth. And so this is purpose of Bhagavad Gita. This is our purpose of our study, is to the best of our ability, with humility, try to receive some knowledge of this supreme truth coming through our acharyas in this sampradaya. The Arya Rishis firmly established the system of sampradaya on a solid scientific foundation. The attempt to destroy it began with a fierce attack by those who adheres to atheistic communism, which came from the West. The root cause of such calamity is an erroneous understanding of the word sectarian. Now many fabricated, narrow-minded sects loudly voice their opposition to the bona fide sampradayas. Unable to pursue the absolute truth, they take shelter of opportunism, thinking the frantic dance of their minds to be liberality or public opinion. Consequently, they are forced to become impersonalists, worshipping Brahma, the featureless aspect of the absolute truth, which is devoid of all potency. The plot to prove that Sri Bhagavan, the supreme absolute truth, is featureless, is now termed non-sectarian or asampradayic. So he's saying that in the guise of this term non-sectarian is actually a plot to prove that Sri Bhagavan is featureless. Very powerful. It is fashionable to write so-called spiritual or non-sectarian commentaries on the Gita and other scriptures. Regrettably, however, in today's society, non-sectarianism refers to willfulness, opportunism, and lack of inhibition. One should understand that those who reject the realized truths of the Arya Rishis, who know past, present, and future, and the eternally perfect exalted personalities, and who assert that their doctrines are spoiled by sectarianism are in fact attached to impersonalism and materialism. Such people label as non-sectarian the commentaries of political leaders, fruitive workers, empiric philosophers, and mystics. So we all understand the value of what he's saying, the value of having the sampradaya, the disciplic succession, which our acharyas have so strongly tried to establish. And as we're approaching Bhagavad Gita, it's also important that we establish this understanding. To understand the actual conclusions of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and to philosophically deliberate upon them, one must take shelter of the instructions of the previous acharyas and follow those instructions. One will then be able to perceive and realize the inner intention of the Gita. A subject becomes easy to understand if the author himself gives an explanation or commentary. Otherwise, one's own understanding of the subject will naturally be tainted by the four defects: error, illusion, imperfect sense perception, and deception. Consequently, one cannot possibly understand the intention of the Gita unless one takes shelter of the realized truth imparted by the sages who know past, present, and future, and the previous acharyas within the disciplic succession who are devoid of such faults. There is no other way. So he's establishing here that the Gita, a subject matter, should best be understood and explained by the author himself. And so he's referring to the Lord, he's referring to Krishna, that Krishna is the one who's capable of explaining the intention and the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita. And if that intention gets translated or messed with by someone who's under the effect of these four defaults, then the message gets confused. But the sages who are Trikaligyan, and they're also in line at one with the heart of Krishna's message, then they are the ones who are qualified to transmit spiritual knowledge. So that's some presentation, introduction about the value of sampradaya. And then now Gurudev mentions some of the subjects and teachings found within the Gita. So this is more fun. It's true. I shall try to present some of the truths that my most worshipful spiritual master, Sri Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, spoke on the subject of the Gita. First, the purpose of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is not to promote diplomacy or the ethics of a Kshatriya, but rather to teach complete surrender to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, the utmost, supreme, absolute truth. So here he's really just explained how the message of Bhagavad Gita is deeper than the simple message of Kshatriya Dharma to fight in a battle, but really it's a message of the transcendental knowledge of the nature of the soul, which is to take shelter of the divine. And he's establishing that the utmost supreme absolute truth is Sri Krishna himself in his personal form. Arjuna is the cause of the Gita's appearance, and he can never be bewildered. His bewilderment is an act solely to facilitate the appearance of the Bhagavad Gita, for he is the eternal associate and friend of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. So the whole premise of the Gita gets set up upon Arjuna being bewildered about his duty and what he's going to do under the circumstances where he has to fight a war against his own family and teachers, and he sees no right decision. He's in his perspective, he's seeing loss. He has to fight because his family, they are at war with themselves, and Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana are causing a problem. Yeah. I was thinking we would get all into this when we start first chapter, because it's going to be like 4 weeks of but there it's a part of the dynasty in which Krishna has came into this world, and called the Pandavas, Krishna's family, and these are eternal personalities. They aren't temporary material forms in which a jiva, which is a soul, has been entered into the material nature. And so this is the point from Srila Bhakti Pragan Keshav Maharaj that Arjuna's, it's actually not possible for him to become bewildered, but this is happening under the desire of the Lord in order for this Gita to be spoken. Sorry to dodge that. Srila Vyasadeva says, Parto Vatsa. From this we can understand that the milk of the Gita was not only intended for Arjuna, who is here compared to a calf. So there's this Gita Mahatmya, which explains the glories of Bhagavad Gita, and there's an analogy given that the Gita is like a cow, right? From this we can understand that the milk of Gita was not only... that the Gita is a cow, and Krishna is the one who milks the cow, and Arjuna is compared to a calf who's going to receive the teaching of the Gita. But not only does Arjuna receive the milk, anyone who is present also receives the milk. And so he's saying that it's not only intended for Arjuna, but it's intended actually for us and our situation. Shri Krishna says, Mamekam Sharanam Braj, take exclusive shelter of me. Here the word ekam indicates that the sole intention of the Gita is to help one surrender to Shri Krishna, the possessor of all potency. So we see this point come up many times throughout the text in many different verses, where ultimately, though many people might take different paths within the creation, ultimately Krishna is saying, you pay attention to me as the creator, and I will take care of it. Daivihi Eshaguna Mayi. This material energy, this deluding potency is very difficult to overcome, but by surrender unto me, I will bring you across. And Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Mata Sarvam Prabhartate. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Those who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all of their heart. So, Srila Bhakti Pragan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, and Krishna are establishing that the purpose of the knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita is not to just know Krishna, but to love Krishna. And then Krishna will reciprocate by taking care of the devotee. Yeah. Oh, this is Vaman Maharaj. Oh, please forgive me. Thank you. In the Gita, we see that Bhagavan makes his devotee Arjuna declare that his devotee never perishes. Kauntaya pratijanihi nami bhakta pranashyati. The purpose is that Bhagavan always protects the vows of his devotees in every way, while he slackens his own vows simply upon hearing his devotees' prayers of distress. Therefore, out of his bhakta vatsal, affection for his devotee, Bhagavan proclaims his devotee's victory. So this is the next point that is being established on top of that surrender to Krishna is the most significant message of the Gita, but he also is showing a little bit more of the heart of the Lord, saying this bhakta vatsal nature. Bhakta vatsal nature we see in a few places in this verse where he's saying that my devotee will never perish, I'll take care of him. And then also this verse, samoham sarva bhuteshu, that he's not partial, he's not envious, and he's neutral to all living beings, but to those who approach him in affection, he reciprocates. So this is a special nature that becomes illuminated through the study of Bhagavad Gita that helps actually increase one's desire to come to this platform of surrender, because naturally we want to surrender to someone who will take care of us. And so the more this bhakta vatsal nature becomes illuminated in our heart, the more it's obvious that, okay, I should surrender to this person who's who's affectionate to his devotee. Yeah.
Yesterday I met someone and he was suffering so much and he like everything had gone wrong in his life and he even just got a new shirt that got all this dirt on it and he was really angry at God because he said that the Lord is envious because why is all this stuff happening to me? I'm a good person and you were just saying he's not envious and we should surrender to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita, is to figure out this problem of why is this happening to me, to understand why are things happening. And so there's a system of karma that's rolling and like dealing with our actions and giving reactions. So there's some suffering there. But Krishna says that dehi nusminyata dehi, that actually it's not in our truest self, we're not actually man or female, we just happen to be in this particular setting for a short amount of time. And so it's not actually us that's suffering. So this is one of Krishna's first the way that he approaches Arjuna's situation, not so different than this person that you met. You know, I don't know what to do. It seems like I'm suffering, even though Arjuna's situation is a little bit more specific. Still, it's kind of approaching like the suffering of the material world. And so yeah, basically karma, but then also atmagyan. Yeah. And then also we're told by our acharyas ultimately that God is good, and that everything that's happening, no matter what circumstance, is being facilitated to awaken our divine love for the Lord, birth after birth, even if we have to pay for some actions that we've caused. That, you know, it's not the intent or the desire of the Lord to create those upon us. Does that make sense?
What might you say to such a person?
Yeah. I say it's all good. You say actually.
He's angry at Krishna.
Yeah.
He thinks he's cruel.
Yeah. Well, you say actually that's why I've taken to spiritual life, you know, because I haven't found a solution outside of spiritual practice that actually helps me get rid of these anger feelings and my frustration within this world. You know, this is the purpose of our spiritual platform, our spiritual practice, you know. Like even, and one of the future things that I was going to read, which is not, I don't know if I'm going to get there at this point, but, and in the Bhagavad Gita itself, it says, Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram sahadam sarva bhotanam yatva mam shanti mrichati. So Krishna is explaining that peace can only be found through transcendental consciousness, and more specifically, peace can only be had through the practice of bhakti. And so you could explain even this to him, you know, peace can only be found through awakening our dormant relationship with God. Otherwise, we're frustrated, fighting with the material energy, bop, 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 bop. But this bhakta vatsal nature makes it so that our surrender is, we're coming out of this dark cavern of material ego and suffering and entering into the light of an entirely different consciousness that's so welcoming, so affectionate, and that's going to guide and be there for us. Sahridam sarva bhutanam. Krishna is situated in the heart of everyone, in control of the material nature, and like he says here, Srila Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, that he's affectionate to his devotees, and the purpose of his message of Bhagavad Gita is that spiritual practice is going to culminate in our surrender to him, and he'll take care of it. Yeah. Good?
Do you want to speak on we'll be serving prasad, so speak on what you have to say about that.
Prashadam. Yeah. Also, what time should I stop? Okay, it's 8:30. So, okay, I'll just say something really quickly. on Prashadam really, really quickly. There's this super, super sweet verse in Gita. Patra pushpam phalam toyam. Yeah. So Krishna says, if one offers me fruit, a flower, a leaf, or a little water with love and devotion, then I accept it. And he accepts it by reciprocating, by giving us his mercy in the form of prashadam. Prashadam is a Sanskrit word for mercy. And so we, even though it looks like we eat here, we're actually not eating. We're just engaged in, I don't even know, honoring and serving, holding on to this mercy that we're getting. And that's why everything's offered at our altar. And so this is the principle of prashadam, and that by honoring this food, it's helping us cultivate our bhakti and all of these things. Okay. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo. Gaur Premanande.